Hi there, my name is John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA, and welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text, we tie them to an item from the Dollar Tree. This is for the narrative lectionary, and we're looking at the Gospel of Matthew and the whole story of the sheep and the goats, and please, when did we see you, Lord, and when did we not see you, Lord? You saw me when you did this to the least of these. You ignored me when you ignored the least of these. And it's an interesting parable, interesting story in that, and I don't necessarily a parable, but an interesting story. And what I find interesting about it is that neither group, sheep or the goats, knew when they saw Jesus. It wasn't like they saw a group of people and said, "Hey, that's Jesus, I'm going to help them out." And the other person said, "Oh, that's not Jesus, I'm not going to help." Neither one of them knew this. And so I find it interesting, that neither one of them knew. So the item I'm using is, and I've used figurines every now and then and stuff like that, but a Batman figurine. You could do a Superman figurine. You could do a Supergirl figurine, a Captain Marvel figurine. You could do, something like that. The idea is that when they're in costume, when they're dressed up, we know who they are, and when they're not in costume, we don't know who they are. I was thinking about Superman when there's the whole thing about Superman, and when he's Clark Kent, when he's out of his outfit, and it's like people that are close to him start going, Lois Lane goes, "Wait a minute, Clark. I've never seen you and Superman in the same room together, and your hand doesn't get burned." When we're close to folks, we start noticing things. But this idea that it's like Batman, it's like we know Batman because of his outfit, and when he's out of his outfit in the stories, he's not there. As a way, using that as a way of then going, in the story, people don't recognize Jesus in these people, but they're helping them out because that's what they do. And there's something about when we act lovingly to other people, we experience Jesus. When we act as Christ would have us act, when we love because God first loved us, we then the love and the presence of Christ is in that place, and that's what we're called to do. And I like in here that the people, they didn't clothe the naked, they didn't visit the imprisoned, they didn't feed the hungry because it would make God love them more. It was out of what they did. And I love it because they're like, "When did we see you? We didn't see you." And Jesus says, "Yes, you did. You saw me when you did this for the least of these. You fed me when you fed the poor. You fed me when you fed the hungry. You clothed me when you clothed the poor." And there's something about that. So using this idea that there can be one person where we recognize them as Batman and we don't recognize them as Batman. Or there's Supergirl where we recognize her Supergirl and then there's not. Or Spider-Man. Or, this idea of that we can recognize or not. And then pull that into the story, that there's times where we don't recognize Jesus in our neighbor when we are called to do that. And then we're called to recognize Jesus in our midst, in the presence of where we're at, and that we're called to reach out and love everyone as God loves them and God loves us. So that's the direction I'm going with this. I hope this can be a springboard for your own thinking around your children's sermon. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a fantastic week.